Trucker, and we are going to go ahead and do a review of the KV220-2. It's a premium Tier 5 heavy tank that they offered in the gift shop a while back. I've had mine for quite a while, actually. I got it the first time it was offered, and then they pulled it and didn't offer for quite a while, and they put it back in the store just not too long ago. I think it was around Christmas. I did some checking, and this does get preferential matchmaking. I couldn't remember if it did or didn't, but it does. So you only see tiers 5s and 6s, nothing more than the tier 6 with it. So anyways, what do you get? It's like I said, tier 5, and you get 690 hit points. It's got really good hull armor, but it's got crappy turret armor. Your hull in the front is 120. It's got good slope. If you're gonna face one of these, don't waste your time shooting at the hull. Shoot at the turret. The turret itself has 90 millimeters of turret armor, and pretty much you can pen it anywhere. Unless you have if you're maybe like a tier 3, you might have trouble penning the turret on this. But if you're a tier 5 or a 6, just shoot the turret and you'll go right through it. The hull armor on the side is 100, and on the side of the turret is 75, and on the rear the hull is at 100, and on the turret is 75 again. So as you can see, this thing is it's got great hull armor, just crappy turret armor. The funny thing, this is actually a KV1, what they call an elongated hull. They actually did build these during World War II, and it went to the front lines. They kind of mass produced a bunch of them, and then they quit producing them and shoved them in the front lines. It's got the better frontal armor, elongated, hull. But the problem they had was they put a KV1 stock turret on here with a 85 millimeter. It's the F30, I believe. It's like basically the same gun that goes on that. It's a tier 4. It's the I can't remember, T28 F30, or with F30 or whatever. It's the designator for the gun. But yeah, so this thing was actually built, and it's great for side scraping. That's your best bet, because the tracks just eat round after round. They eat rounds like they do, a snack. It's great for side scraping. So we'll go over the gun real quick, which the gun on this is what really kind of blows the whole deal on this tank. It does 14 rounds a minute. Standard pen is 99. Premium penetration only bumps you up to 121. The good thing is it's at least APCR, and the HE rounds are 38. Average damage is 110 for your standard and your premium rounds, and 156 for your HE. Average damage per minute is 1,540. Your dispersion sucks at 0.46, and your aim time not too bad at 2.3 seconds. If you had a decent crew in there, you can bring both those numbers down. I didn't realize I was that close to bumping it up. Another crew skill. No clue why I set this up with the size of this thing with camo. Maybe because of the size of it, that's why I did it. But anyways, so my rate of fire is 16.6 rounds a minute. My reload time is 3.6 seconds. Turret traverse is 23.34, and the hull is 21.33. So you got to watch out for getting circle strafed, because this thing does not turn very well. If you see a light tank coming up at you, your best bet's to back against a rock or a building or something, so they can't get around you. Something in my eyeball. That wasn't my eyeball. Gun depression is -8 and +24, so it's alright. You can work ridge lines decent enough. My aim time is 1.95 seconds, but again, that's because my crew is actually pretty good in this. And my dispersion still kind of sucks at 0.43, so it's not very accurate. This is a medium to close range tank. You want to be in there brawling with them. The only thing that is the big drawback with this, when you get in there to brawl with them, they can just blow right through your turret, pretty much with standard rounds. Anything with over basically 105 penetration is going to go right through that to the front of your turret, pretty much. Where was I at here? Oh, my average damage per minute is 1825 if you penetrate them. It is a heavy tank, 62.7 tons. So yeah, smash into light tanks and mediums. You could even crack into some heavy tanks with this thing. It's not going to do too much damage to you. They give it an 850 horsepower engine, which your specific power to weight is 13.55, which actually, for this size of a tank, that's not too bad, to be honest with you. Top speed is 33 in forward and 10 in reverse. And you'll get to that 33 pretty quick and you can maintain it. Concealment on mine is 14.3, but that's because I've got almost my whole crew at just about 100% on camouflage. View range on this is miserable. I mean, I think it might be one of the lowest in the game at 317. It is blind as a bat. I'm almost thinking of taking vents off here and putting coded optics on it just to get a view range out there further than 317, because you'll be getting hit by rounds and you can't even see. And you'll see in the replay that I did, the tanks, there's a couple of them shooting at me, and they're like just on the other side of a bush, maybe, just guessing, I'd say 30 yards from me, maybe 40 yards, and they're shooting at me and I can't even see them. I mean, this thing is blind as a bat. And the signal range is 469, which that's actually pretty low too. Anyways, recommendations on getting this tank. To be honest with you, I can't really say I would, recommend it. I mean, if you got an extra, if they bring it out and you collect tanks and you got an extra, whatever they, $20 or $30, whatever it is they charge for it, yeah, get it. But if you're looking for a tank to make credits with, this is not one of them. You'll end up shooting a ton of premium rounds because you will not pen anything with the stock penetration of 99. I bounce a lot of rounds with my premium rounds. There's times that I'll be shooting at stuff and I can't go through the front of it at all. So, yeah, I wish they'd really buff this gun up just a wee bit. Anyways, if you want to hold on for a minute, I'll be right back with the gameplay for you. So, we find ourselves here on Swamp, and as you can see, for heavy tank wise, you got myself and the KV-220, which, to be honest with you, when this tank first came out, awesome. Then literally everybody found out to shoot it in the turret and you'll pen it. Hull wise, they couldn't pen it. They could just, your tracks eat their rounds. They couldn't do anything to the hull. They just bounce. Then they found out that the turret is just a pile of crap. Basically a stock KV-1 turret, and they just put round after round right through your turret. It's a great tank for side scraping due to the fact that with these tracks, and they're so long and huge, basically the tracks just eat rounds. I mean, they literally eat rounds for dinner. But you're going to see in this match how our team just basically falls apart right off the bat. I don't know if anybody has a KV-220, but if you'll notice, I got all premium rounds except for some HE rounds, due to the fact that your standard rounds only has 99 penetration. Yeah, you're not going to pen much with that. So I do the premium rounds, and that just bumps you up to 121. And like on a Churchill 3, T1 Heavy, you're lucky to go through it with their premium rounds. It just, the gun on this really does blow. And then also, I don't know if you saw when I had it hovering over that, but it only does an average damage of 110. So, if you get low rolls, you'll be hitting stuff for 80, 85. You get a nice high roll, you'll do 120 or something. Sorry, I had to turn the air conditioner on here a little bit. Out in California. After PC3 came up here and got just his butt handed to him, and we already lost our M3 Stuart. But I'm up here pretty much by myself, other than this Locust, which, a light tank up here. Good for him for getting up here and trying to light the enemy team, but I think he pays for it. Yeah, he pretty much gets the snot knocked out of him. And you can see they've got their heavies and stuff coming right up here where all the heavies normally do. Our Churchill 3 started heading up here. I can't remember if he ended up coming up this. I think he went around the lower side of this hill. But right here I decided, okay, I'm going to get in here and do some side scraping. Beautiful tank for it. The bad thing about this tank is it has absolutely no view range at all. So like I can see this Churchill 3 right here. Hit him in the side and I didn't pen him. So I hit him for 96. And you see, all he's doing is knocking my track off. And boom. Can't even see him. He's still shooting at me. And literally there's one bush between us and I can't even see him. The vision on this thing really blows. I just kept blind, shotting because, I just figured I saw, obviously, his rounds are coming from there, so, and they kept pounding rounds up here, so I figured I'm going to hold off for a minute, just sit here, let the tank go invisible, and get out of this area. Yeah, so our Churchill 3 came up here, and I think he wised up to the fact that he knew what I was kind of facing over here, and he decided to go down and around, which is probably a good move on his part. And so I popped out there just a little bit to see if anything was still sitting there, and here come the rounds again, and I can't even see them. When I was stuck there, I asked somebody to try getting eyes in that area, down in the J7 area, because I mean, literally, that close and I couldn't see them, so, I needed somebody else to do the lighting, so I could actually get shots off on stuff. But obviously this game, as you can see, is going south really quick. It's down to, what do we got? 6 of us here left. Or 5, I'm sorry, down to 5 now. They still have half a team. I figured I'm going to just go ahead and hold this guy here and try and keep his track off for whoever is over there that's actually shooting him, hitting him, and penning him. But I've only done 340 damage. Like I said, this gun doesn't hit for much. And it's just the penetration on it really sucks. I saw this Lush coming up the on my backside here, and I knew I needed to get my front facing him that way, because if he's shooting premium rounds, it's going to go right through my sides, my rear. The thing has a really good gun. And a lot of people do shoot premium rounds in that, which, for a light tank, I probably would too. Kind of a shitty crap pull on a trigger right there. I should have waited. This probably helped if I went back in regular view. So I was able to knock out that medium down there, and it's down to me. I was gonna say the Churchill, but now it's down to me. My track just got fixed, and T1 Heavy's coming up here, and the T1 Heavy's got a really good gun, fast firing, and his armor's actually good enough to, stop me. Even with premium rounds, his armor's good enough for me to bounce a lot of rounds. So I figured I'd aim for that little mailbox part. But once that martyr got up there, I knew I was toast. That's all she wrote. So I did a whopping 820 damage. The funny thing was, that was the most damage that we did on our team. So, our team was just pretty miserable. I did block 1175, which is actually pretty good considering it's only got, 690 health. So yeah, this thing, when they shoot at your hull or if you can side scrape, it is a beast. But if they get that turret, the turret's just a pile of crap. And the gun is pretty crappy too. For getting this tank, to be honest with you, it's a toss-up. If you got the extra money, it's always nice to have a premium. But the problem is you're going to shoot mainly premium rounds, because 99 pen, you're not going to pen much of anything. Especially, and if I remember right, don't quote me, but I think this does get preferential matchmaking. Almost positive it does. Looks like my little one's texting me. I'm almost positive it does get pref matchmaking, but still, even with that, if you're low on the matchmaker, you're going to be hating life, because the gun on this just kind of really blows. So to recommend to get this, I can't actually, in good conscience, say yes. I mean, if they put it out there and you got some extra money, yeah, pick it up. You know, if you want, if you collect tanks. But if you're looking for a tank to make you know, a lot of credits with, this is not one of them. So, anyways, if you want to hold on for a minute there. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. I forgot I don't have the post-game stats for these matches. I do apologize about that. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and you can see the difference between a team that can actually kind of work together and one that does this. Yeah, still, it didn't end as bad as I thought it did. You know, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, they had 3 tanks, 2 already versus me at the end. It would been nice to get, you know, 5 kills there and get that. I can't remember the name of the award for standing alone against 5 enemy team members. But anyways, you guys be safe, and I will see you on the battlefield. Hey everybody, this is Tankin Trucker, and today we're going to make a video. I'm going to show you kind of the difference between a team working as a cohesive team together. On this particular match, we were kind of actually winning, and then they caught up, and then we were actually losing, and then we actually came back to win, but that's because we basically all worked as a team, and you know, we're able to pull off this win. And the only thing you will see is if you're watching the chat, you'll notice there's a couple people that just start going at each other, and right from the get-go. I mean, they didn't even the match literally just started, and they were already, you know, going at each other. And you know, toxic stuff like that, it doesn't help. For one, because you got these 2 players that really aren't even probably paying attention to the game because they're too busy, you know, going at each other to see who's going to type the next thing and say something worse about each other. So, you know, they took out the chat so that you couldn't do cross-team chat, you know, from one team to another. And the only difference it did is actually it made it where now your own team just gets, you know, crappy with their own players, saying what, you know, bad players they are and what bad stats they have, and, you know, uninstall the game. And it's like, you know, they gotta have that ability to, you know, make somebody feel like shit and just tear them down, and it's just ridiculous. But anyways, we're gonna have this match where I'm in artillery. I don't have the post-game stats for either of these matches due to the fact that I completely forgot that I was going to make a video, and I didn't record the post-game stats after the match, and I do apologize. Oh, we just hit that one IS-6 for 568, so that was a pretty nice hit. Now, one thing with this artillery is it doesn't hit for a super big amount of alpha, but it is very accurate. And there is times that you will hit lightly armored stuff and you will do full damage. You'll see on this, like their Ravioli, I hit him, and he was hit, I think, one time before I hit him, and I actually one-shotted him, so it hit for like 1,100 and some hit points in one shot. And I don't know if you guys have been really paying attention to what they're planning on doing to artillery in the sandbox server. They're working on it right now with doing that stun stuff, and I don't know, guys. It's I mean, no one's a real big fan of artillery when you get hit by it, but they're gonna ruin that specific class literally if they do that. If you've got people that's all they play World of Tanks for is for artillery, I just one-shot him for 1,174, so you can hit for a pretty good amount of damage if you hit lightly armored stuff. Even the FCM 50T's got pretty decent armor, you know, for a French tank. It actually does. But anyways, what I was saying is if they do that where you hit stuff and you stun it and you do, like, literally no damage. I mean, I was watching a replay on DZ Gamer's website, and he was in the oh shoot, was it gun carriage? I think he did a match in the gun carriage and then like the T-92, both those artilleries, and literally, I mean, he was hitting stuff for 200 in that artillery. I mean, going from the average damage of 2,200 on that thing to only hitting stuff for 200 with a direct hit, and stunning 2 or 3 tanks. It just and the stun thing. I mean, it's yeah, all well and good, but basically just and with the repair kits like the way they have them now, well, in the sandbox server, the stun thing is no big deal. They stun 4 or 5 tanks, and everybody just repairs their crew or whatever with the multi-use repair kits. So it's like, what makes the difference if you stun anybody or not? They're not going to care. All they're going to do is laugh when you hit them for 150 hit points of damage with T-92 Tier 10 artillery. No, seriously, I think if they do that, they will ruin that class. And I don't play artillery a whole lot. I play it once in a while. If I'm getting a bad ping, I'll play it, just because then I don't have to worry about, um, being in the middle of an, action-packed thing, trying to circle somebody and then have a lag spike, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm in the water drowning. So, like this match is exactly why I was doing that. It's because my ping just really sucked, so I played artillery this match. Um, but yeah, I'm really hoping they absolutely don't do that to artillery. If they want to do anything to them, I could see them maybe lessening the alpha per hit, where when you hit a tank, you'll do, let's say the T-92, for instance, since it hits for such a big amount, instead of hitting for an average damage of 2,200 in one shot in people, I'd say um, do like with tank destroyers, where you hit for a maximum amount of damage of like 700 or 750. That's doable. What's the difference if you get hit with artillery for that 750 or a tank destroyer for that 750? Nothing in my mind. Um, and I don't like getting hit by artillery any more than anybody else does. And it does really suck when you're moving like this guy here is. I take a shot at him and miss, but there's been times that I'm not stagnant. I'm not just sitting still, and that was the purpose for artillery. And when you're booking along and you're having a good game, and all of a sudden already hits you for 2,000 hit points or whatever, and knocks you out of the game. Yeah, that does piss me off too. But I really think what they should do is just make it where it maxes out for the most it can hit for, like with your tier 10s, is like 700, 750. That's the maximum damage. So you're averaging hitting stuff for probably five or 600, 700, whatever. I can't see him doing that stun thing. One thing I would like to see him do is add smoke uh, to artillery, where, let's say, I'm going to pause this just for instance, just to give you an idea what I'm talking about. So let's say you got your enemy tanks are right here. You got a bunch of friendly tanks on this corner right here that want to cross to this area and then try and get around to this area so they can get shots into them. So, give artillery smoke grenades, or not grenades, smoke rounds, so that they can launch it and it'll hit, and it'll smoke out this whole big area. And that way your tanks can, book across. One thing about that is you got them shooting some smoke grenades now. I keep saying smoke grenades. I'm sorry. I'm used to, when I was in the military, a grenade. When you have a smoke round, they'll be shooting those to cover areas for their, friendlies for the, on their team to get movement, so they won't be shooting at an enemy tank with their artillery when they do that. So that, that would be one thing that they could do to add in, so that, not as much damage is going out, because people are going to be trying to cover their teams to cross in areas with smoke. Who knows? I think that's a pretty good idea. It's realistic too. I mean, I was in the military and we used smoke a lot, and I used smoke grenades when I was in the military, as in, instead of hand grenades, sometimes you had to use smoke grenades. And, and our artillery, they use smoke all the time. to mark targets or cover ground troops. So, definitely I would think that would be a good idea. But that's just my thoughts. So now all they got left is the Lorraine 155-51. And now that I was jabbering the whole match, I ended up doing 2,987 damage and getting 3 kills. So I had some pretty good hits, like the M41 Ravioli. Hit that for 1174. Um, Knocked the crap out of their LCM50T. Had to hit him a couple different times. And right off the bat, I hit their IS-6 for a nice chunk of 568. So, I had some pretty decent shots in there. Nothing spectacular except for the Ravioli. I thought Artie was going to be sitting right there behind that bush. And then, boom, he lights up. And he's a booking across the field. I guess he was going to try getting a reset, so good for him, but it didn't work out for him. So if you want to hold on for a minute, I'll have another match for you. And the next match is basically a team that does not um, work together at all whatsoever. So you saw this, we were kind of winning in the beginning, and then they caught up, and then they were winning, and then we came back and actually beat them. So it was basically team working together. And other than, the toxic chat, those two guys or whatever going at it, calling each other names, and you're a kid, and blah, 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 and I'm going to ground you when I get home. It's actually, some of it's kind of funny, but, other than that, the team pretty much, held together, and we did good, and ended up winning this match. So if you want to hold on a minute, I'll have that other match up for you in just a minute.